Running an Amazon business as a solo entrepreneur can be overwhelming, simply because we have to wear so many hats. We have to talk to the forwarders in the morning, then we have to tweak our PPC campaigns, and then we do keyword research in the evening. No wonder if we feel spread too thin. And nobody wants to be the bottleneck of their business. Hi, my name is Michael, and this video is about systems and ways to streamline your Amazon business. So, whether you want to build a team or get some of your time back, this video is for you. So, why do we want to systemize? Isn't that something relevant only to large businesses? Well, no. We systemize to feel in control and, more importantly, to actually be in control. It allows us to have more clarity and actually see a clear path to grow our business. In my previous video, I showed you the exact structure of our 8-figure Amazon business. And today I'm going to show you how to replicate that in your own business. So let's dive in. So let me show you the process we followed, and hopefully you will be able to use this as an inspiration in your own business. So we are going to go from the big picture view of our business, from the process map, all the way to a single task. So we are going to start with a business pipeline. So you may say that every business is different, but the question is it really? Because business is a repeatable process. So we can see that in every business we have some value creation, marketing, sales, value delivery. Right? So we create something of value that other people want or need at a price that they are willing to pay in a way that satisfies their expectations. And this definition comes from a book called The Personal FBA. So if the business is a repeatable process, every part of the business should be a repeatable process as well. That will create our business pipeline. So at the top, you can see the business. And if the full business is a repeatable process, all of the parts should be a repeatable process as well, right? So our value creation, our marketing, sales, value delivery. So talking about Amazon, product development is a process. Supply, also a process. And once we transform each and every area of our business into a process with predictable results, we have a business we can scale, because that allows us to identify all the bottlenecks. So let's take a look at Amazon FBA pipeline. We have product development, supply and inventory management, operations, marketing. And the good thing is that most of the business is outsourced to a third party by default, right? Amazon is doing the fulfillment, there is traffic coming to Amazon website, so we really have to care about just a few things. This is what the full Amazon FBA business process map could look like, right? All the way from product development, supply, inventory management, operations, marketing, customer service. And as you can see, it is a pipeline. It starts with product development and ends essentially with customer service. And our goal is to set up a structure that would allow us to operate in a machine-like way. And in order to do that, we need a well-defined process. And I think that the best example here is to take a look at the production line in McDonald's, right? Each and every step is specified in detail to produce the same outcome, right? The inputs are provided, those are the ingredients, and also the steps are provided as well. And if followed correctly, the result should be the same every single time, no matter who follows the process. So a well-defined process has predictable results. Now let's talk about key functions of these processes. We need to define what we want to get out of that particular process, right? So if we talk about product development, we want to create the product. If we talk about supply, we want to get the product to Amazon, maintain the stock, keep up with Amazon, that is the pricing, all of the operations, dealing with seller support and so on. Marketing, get it seen and get it sold. And customer service, simply keep our customers happy. So we need to define what we want to get out of the process and what needs to be done to get it. So if we take a closer look at product development, right? We want to create the product. So there are various steps in this process. We want to analyze the market, the niche. We want to analyze the competitors. We want to design the logo, packaging, do keyword research, create the listings, get photos, graphics, and of course, evaluate the product at the end, right? So this may not be the full process, but we are getting the idea what are the functions in this particular process. So essentially there are two types of activities in our business. We can be either growing the business or maintaining it. And it is a pretty straightforward concept, right? If you are not sure, you can ask yourself, can I double my business by focusing on this area? So if you take a look at supply, can you double the business by focusing on supply? Probably not. Can you double your business by focusing on product development? Yes, you can launch new products, you can grow your revenue, you can grow your profit. Therefore, you can double your business by focusing on product development. If we ignore maintaining, our business will collapse. But if we ignore growing, our business won't grow. So maintaining is always on top of the list. It does not really make sense to focus on growth if we can't maintain, right? For example, doing a marketing campaign to drive external traffic if I'm out of stock, right? Once again, looking at our business process map. We have our product development, as I said, that can grow our business. Supply, maintain. Inventory management, maintain. Operations, also maintain. Marketing can grow our business. And customer service, mostly maintain, right? So as you can see, we can really grow our business while working in the business in two areas: product development and marketing. And obviously it may be different for you and your business, right? Maybe you have a different way you do marketing, maybe you drive external traffic and so on. So it may be slightly different, but the framework is still the same. Why does it matter? Let's take a look at time allocation to help you understand why it matters. Time tracking is an eye-opening habit. It is extremely helpful to analyze and optimize our time allocation. And if we have a team, we can optimize their time allocation as well. Because if you track your time, you are able to answer this question. Are we growing the business or just maintaining it? Because once you have the data, you are able to take a look at it and see, okay, maybe I spent 80% of my time just maintaining the business. I do supply, customer service, inventory management. I don't really grow the business, right? And this is really eye-opening. Once you start tracking your time based on your business process map, then you are able to analyze it as well. Next, we are going to take a look at process flowcharts. Process flowcharts help us to visualize the core processes of our business. It really visualizes the flow of tasks and routines, and it is basically the foundation for our task management, for our procedures, templates, checklists. We need to determine the key decision points and also identify and eliminate potential gaps in our process. So to draft our flowcharts, we are going to use Miro. I will leave a link in the description. This is extremely useful. You can use the free version. And if you are going to create a flowchart from scratch, what I like to do is to define the phases first, right? So if we are going to take a look, for example, at product development, we can say that we have 4 stages. So looking at the stages, we can say we have some development stage, pre-launch stage, ranking stage, and lastly, evaluation stage, right? Before we decide whether the product was a success or not. And these stages will help us to take a look at the specific part of the process and take a look at the steps. So for simplicity, we are going to use these 3 shapes. We have a task or a routine, we have a milestone, and then we have the decision point. And as I said, this is extremely useful once we start delegating, once we build a team, to really define where we need to step in and make a key decision. So the product development starts with some product idea, right? So the next step, once we have the idea, is to really take a look at the market, right? So the first task could be some market analysis. The next step could be, let's say, competitor analysis, right? And slowly we start building the flowchart. But the most useful thing we can do to really simplify this process is to draft the flowchart as we go through the process, right? You already know what you do when you develop new products. So once you go through the process, start drafting these. Do not include every single step, right? These are the tasks, and the specifics will be later on in our task management software. But now we look at market analysis, competitor analysis, but we won't be listing all of the steps in this flowchart, right? And let's say once we reach a specific milestone that we go through some verification process, profitability analysis, and so on, we will talk to our supplier, whether they can actually make the product and so on. Once we get there, we have a milestone, right? Product design finished. That is a milestone. And then we can proceed to the next phase, which is pre-launch, right? Here, we want to prepare our listings. We need to determine the order quantity, and that would be the pre-launch phase. But next, we have the ranking phase, right? Once the product is delivered to Amazon, let's say there is another milestone, product delivered, we can start ranking. Now the ranking phase begins, right? There are some monitoring tasks, preparing PPC campaigns, maybe some external traffic. So we are slowly moving through the stages, adding the milestones, and after we go through the process, we will have a pretty good idea about all of the decision points, right? Let's say our brand manager will finish the listing. So we want to make some decision before we start ranking the process. We want to confirm that we are happy with the listing and so on, right? That we confirmed that they did a good job. So there is a decision, and also in the evaluation process, right? That's also an important decision to look at the data, right? So our brand manager can prepare some evaluation sheet, summarizing, creating a report, summarizing all of the data, and then we can make a decision whether to keep the product, reorder, or just drop it, or go back to the ranking section, ranking stage, right? So you can list all of this in a flowchart. And if you are interested, leave me a comment below and I will prepare a full guide how to create these flowcharts in detail, right? It is not in the scope of this video to show you all of the steps. Now, once our flowcharts are ready, we can take a look at specific tasks. Most of our tasks are routines. And most of these routines are triggered by a recurring due date or by another routine. Since we do it regularly, we can have templates, checklists, and steps. So now we are looking at Asana. That is my favorite task management software, so I can highly recommend it. But if you prefer any other one like ClickUp, go for it. Basically, the idea behind this is the same, right? So if we create Asana from scratch, our task management software, now we are looking at supply. Let's say we finished our basic flowchart, right? And now we want to move and take a look at specific tasks. So we will set up the specific area, let's say supply in Asana. First, what we are going to do is to create some sections, right? So what could be the sections of supply? We have some purchase orders. We have, let's say we ship to US and Europe as well. So we have some US shipments. Then we have some UK shipments, right? And then we can have some routines, right? So let's say that for purchase orders, we want to create a template for our PO because we create POs on a regular basis, so we can have a checklist and ideally a template, a spreadsheet that is ready as well, right? So we can create a template. And now we can list everything we need here in the task description and the subtasks, right? The subtask will be the specific steps. It can be basically our checklist. Here we can list the inputs, the steps, and so on, right? So in the inputs, we can have, for example, the PO template, and we can link the PO template here. So anyone who creates a new PO, they can click, immediately get there, create a copy of the file, populate it, and go on, right? And also we can create the sections right here, right? So we can have determine order quantity, and we can also create sections, right? So that would be the first section is to, let's say, create the PO. The next step can be to define the shipping plans, right? And the next section could be, for example, to prepare. Once the PO is finishing, we can, for example, book inspection. Here we can add pay deposit, right? Once we pay the deposit, the production begins, right? Here we can have like finalize shipping plan, confirm with supplier, and so on. And the next step can be, the next section can be closing the PO, right? So we can have to pay the balance, right? So obviously there are many more steps in between, but as you go through the process, write this down. And the next time you do it, you already know. You don't have to be worried that you forget something, right? And here we can also have, when we finalize the shipping plan or where we draft the shipping plans here, part of this can be create shipment in Asana, right? So I know once I create a PO and I have the shipping plan, this is basically the routine as I said. It feeds from creating the PO to creating the shipment, right? So creating the shipment is triggered here within the PO template, right? So I would have another template here, US shipment, and I would go through the same process. So the input would be the PO file. And once again, we have the steps. We want to prepare. So we want to get quotes from forwarders and so on, right? Once again, the same process. And all of the steps, as you can see, will trigger the next task. So for example, let's say that here within the PO task, we trigger creating the US shipment, right? Because it makes sense. Once we create the PO, we want to create a shipment. But what triggers the PO? Well, we should have that in our flowchart. And probably it's going to be some inventory forecasting routine when we realize, okay, we need to order more units. Now we need to create a PO in order to do that, right? So this PO is triggered by inventory forecasting. And inventory forecasting should be triggered by recurring due date, let's say every 2 weeks. So once we do inventory forecasting, we see, okay, I need to create PO. Once I create PO, I automatically know that I need to create a shipment. And here it feeds basically next to, let's say, create inbound shipment into our 3PL. So everything feeds nicely together and there are no gaps. So you don't have to be worried that you, let's say, forget to create the shipments, right? Now, it is very important to keep this simple. It may be tempting to really overdo it and create all of these steps and procedures and just complicated processes, but keep in mind that the goal here is to save you time. So make sure to keep it simple. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to work, right? And we need to keep in mind that complexity compounds difficulty. So really keep it simple. Because my experience, I will tell you a story. We wanted to launch multiple products at once. We wanted to launch one product per month. So our goal was to create a process where we could systematically rank multiple products and monitor everything from one place, right? Ranking multiple products, dozens of products at once in the US marketplace, in UK, all of these marketplaces, all of these SKUs, all of these keywords, it was so complex. So I started working with a consultant and we created these spreadsheets that were just amazing, right? There was everything and it was great. We spent like 50, 60 hours. We paid a few $1,000s for his assistance and it was just great. Until the moment I actually wanted to go through the process and then I realized it's completely useless because it's so complicated that I just spent hours and hours trying to find what I wanted to find. And it was just so confusing that I just threw away pretty much everything and started from scratch. And it was like 10% of the original process, but it got the job done, which is what mattered, right? Because once you get into it, like it can be quite enjoyable, right? You can imagine, okay, I will create this, it will save me so much time, but always remember to create these steps, these flowcharts and the checklist and everything as you go through the process. Because that's when you see, okay, I need a step here. Okay, I need to make this change in my template to make it easier next time, rather than trying to create everything from scratch, right? So once again, keep it simple. We already looked at the process map. Now we are zooming in the flowcharts and also the tasks. So as I said, we covered from all the way from the big picture of our business all the way to a single task. But systemizing is just the first step, because our goal really is to earn more and work less. So we want to create leverage to get back our time. We want to use the time to develop expertise and more valuable skill set. And we want to utilize the expertise to grow our business. So to create the leverage, we need to develop the systems, which is what I just talked about. We need to hire a talent, find someone with relevant abilities, and delegate. We want to transfer the accountability for that particular process or part of the process to this new person. And this is basically a cycle where we develop the process, we hire the right person, and we delegate that particular process to him. And then we go back and develop another process, right? And obviously we can skip some of these steps once we have someone on board, right? Let's say I develop process for supply. So I hire my supply manager. I delegate the supply to them. Now I develop a system for structured inventory forecasting, but I don't have to hire anyone because I have my supply manager and they have the skill set for that. So I can skip this step and delegate the inventory management to them. Let's say I develop a process for structured product development. I hire a brand manager and I delegate it to them. Then I develop a system to optimize our PPC campaigns. I want to hire, but I have my brand manager and he understands keywords and data pretty well, so I can delegate it to him. So we go through this cycle multiple times to basically create the leverage. And this process is what I call designing, which is essentially working on the business instead of working just in the business. I believe that the most important step is to get into the right mindset, to truly start separating yourself from the business and see the business as the owner rather than the operator. All of this may seem intimidating, but the good news is that you have to do it just once. So start simple and start documenting as you go. You actually don't have to systemize your whole business before you see the benefits. Every procedure, every checklist is an asset that will save you time and your mental capacity. So start using the data from your time tracker and start systemizing your business right away. Good luck.